What's good, everybody? Let's talk about some Giants, shall we? Because obviously my Knicks are still on vacation from the NBA All-Star game. They don't play until Thursday. So apparently Saquon Barkley is expected to be a free agent come March 13th. Because obviously free agency is in March. Um, if the Giants are gonna let him walk, actually the Giants are gonna let him test free agency. Teams are arguably are to speak with players, right? They have the quote unquote passage way to speak to players, right? Um, if I'm the Giants, the best bet is to let him walk because I don't want to see Saquon Barkley ruin his career or ruin his career with the New York Giants. Correct. Right now, if the if Barkley stays with the Giants this next year, or okay, so this year they're not going to make the playoffs. Okay, they're still in a rebuilding mode. You know, the year after that, you're still going to be stuck with Daniel Jones, right? So you're going to have Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. The year after that, Daniel Jones is going to become a free agent. Now, I don't think the Giants will re-sign him, but we'll see. And I don't think the Giants are going to take any quarterback in this year's draft because they don't want to. They don't want any controversy prior to that. You know, like how RG3 and the Redskins had, their downfall with RG3. Then Kirk Cousins didn't really pan out. He did for like a few good. He did for like three good games, and then after that, he just sunk. Right? We don't want that with the New York Giants. We believe in that. Well, actually, not we, but they believe in Daniel Jones. They think that he's the answer. Okay, Saquon. If I was you, I would just go. I would just go. I would just go to a contending team. This day and age where certain players have to be loyal, bump all that, right? Like there's no loyalty in sports. There really isn't. It's a business, right? Now, if you're fortunate enough to play your whole entire career with the New York Giants, so be it. Look at Patrick Ewing. Look how much the Knicks gave back, or look how much the Knicks got in return for Patrick Ewing, right? They got a first, and then they got a second round pick, and then they got a few other, you know, meaningless players. Those that one draft pick or that first round pick and that second round pick didn't really turn into too much because I think we traded him around early 1999 through 2000. So we traded him, for nothing, and what we got in return was nothing because obviously we had not good player, or we didn't have a good supporting cast to surround him with, right? Yeah, we picked up some bit like the Knicks picked up some B plus players, but they wasn't a top notch players. Yeah, we got to the finals a couple of times, or actually we got to the finals a few times, but didn't obviously win it. We got beat by the Rockets. We got beat by San Antonio. So those were the only 2 years that we could have won it. But anyways, to make my point, I don't want to see Saquon Barkley waste his career like Patrick Ewing did, right? if you want to win a chip, get on that ship. You know what I'm saying? If you want to win a chip, get on that ship. Don't stay with the Giants because of loyalty. Because the only thing you're probably going to get out of that is what? Really? You know, like you have to think about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's a business. You know, you look your prime example. You look at Tiki Barber, right? I mean, he could have played into that one. He could have played into he could have played in the 2007 season, but he decided to retire. You know, Michael Strahan saying, "No, this is our year. We can get this done." This and that. Like, can you imagine if Tiki Barber played alongside Eli Manning in that Super Bowl? But who did we replace Tiki with? Bradshaw and Jacobs. Two B-plus players fused together to create one good running back. You know, Bradshaw for his elusiveness and speed, and Jacobs for his power and finesse strength. Of course, we added Derek Ward to form Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was a musician group back in the 70s. But if Saquon wants to sign here long term and never win a championship, so be it. So be it. You know, because fans are going to turn on you one way or another. It's either you stay with us, knowing damn well we are never going to win another Super Bowl, or jump ship to another team that's a contender in a less weaker division. Because the NFC East is brutal. It really is, you know. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are picking the Commanders to win the division next year, which it doesn't really matter because they're going to have a first-round exit anyways. But I guess more division champions to them, you know. I just want Saquon Barkley to end his career on a good note. You know, right now the Giants are not equipped to do anything. You know, we're not even favored next year to win anything. We're not favored to win our division. We damn sure ain't favored to win a playoff game. The only thing we're favored about next year is to double our wins, to double our total wins. You know, but you know everything has to fall in place. You know, and right now it's not the time. You know. It's not the time. But like I said, if he wants to sign here, let's say he signs like a 4-year, 3-year deal with you know, I don't know if they do player options in the NFL. I don't know how that contract works. So, because I know with the NFL, you have to, you know, play out your contract. It's not the NBA where they give you like a 3-year deal plus a player option or team option. The NBA, the NFL, if they give you a 3-year deal, you have to serve those 3 years and then you're a free agent, you know? So it doesn't make sense for the Giants to draft a quarterback because they already have a quarterback. Now, again, Daniel Jones cannot stay healthy. That's the one knock on him. He cannot stay healthy. So coming into this season, let's transition to Daniel Jones now. Going into this season, it's a must. Now, a lot of people want the Giants to pick a quarterback because let's say, you know, he goes down again, right? We're probably going to have a new regime at quarterback, right? Like, Danny DeVito is not going to be on that team next year. Tyrod Taylor is not going to be on this team next year, so they're going to have to do a lot of soul searching, probably pick up a vet, or maybe, no, actually, he will. Tyrod Taylor signed a 2-year deal with the Giants. I've totally forgot. Danny DeVito is obviously going to be a free agent next year. Do they resign him? You know, in case Daniel Jones get hurt. Now, I never said anything bad about Daniel Jones. I always had his back. But the injury bug is a buzzkill because obviously Eli Manning never had to endure that, had never had to experience that because he started almost every single game. Now, if the Giants are going to gamble and draft a quarterback at number 6, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, you know. I mean, I don't really do my homework on any of these quarterbacks because I'm not fucking getting paid to do shit like that. But I used to do it like a few years ago, but I just stopped because it just wasn't really, like it was stupid. But if the Giants do pick any of these quarterbacks at number 6, I don't know if they have to move up because 1 through 5, I don't know. Let's say there's just like 5 quarterbacks and all 5 of them get picked, right? Like we know the Bears are gonna pick one, the Commanders are gonna pick one, you know. I mean, those are the only 2 I know, to be honest with you. The Cardinals, but then again, they have their quarterback. The Patriots, you know what I'm saying? So there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks to get that's going to get, picked first 5 rounds, right? Or first round picks. They're going to get picked. So when we coming at number 6, do we trade up before the draft? Because remember, the Giants traded up before, right, to get Landon Collins. That didn't work, But when the Falcons did it, when the Falcons traded up to get Julio Jones, I mean, they nearly threw the kitchen sink at him. They threw a hell of first-round picks, seconds, thirds, just to get Julio Jones. And it panned out. They made it to the Super Bowl, right? But when we did it, it backfired on us because Landon Collins didn't really pan out at all. Yeah, he had a good, solid rookie year. He had a second good year, but after that, the injuries start just piling up, and obviously he wind up getting traded to the Commanders or to the Redskins, I believe, or Washington football team they were called at the time. So yes, the Giants have known to squander bad picks. The Giants do not know how to draft well. That's the one thing that knocks me on the Giants. If the Giants had a great track record like these teams do, then I wouldn't hesitate to say, oh, the Giants are going to squander this. But if you look back at the Giants' track record, it's not good. It's not good. We picked Odell Beckham Jr. 12th pick, right? He was the 12th pick in the first round. We went 7-9, but obviously he wound up having his moment, rookie of the year, catch of the year, Saquon Barkley, had a good rookie year, one rookie of the year, the Giants finished 6-12. So, and don't get me wrong, those were great picks. Those were great 2 picks, but how did that benefit us from winning? It didn't. They went on to have great achievement awards, but the Giants were at home again and again and again. Even when we were great around 2016, Jerry Jones finally paid the defense, which he should have probably put some resources on the offense, but he chose the defense. The defense kept us in games. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it was Odell Beckham Jr. who kept us in those games. No, it wasn't. If you go back and look at every single game from that 2016, look at the final game. Every time the Giants scored, we had to bank on our defense to stop the bleeding. Because, again, if the offense doesn't do their job, the defense is not going to do their job. And their job is to stop the ball or stop the opposing offense from scoring. But we just needed them in the last few seconds of the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? So, all this, if we do not draft well this year, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. If we do not draft well this year, it does not matter. You know, because we got 7 picks this year. 7, right? Most teams might have 13, 14, 12, but the max is 7. I think we swapped fourths with the Seahawks to let go of Williams. You know, we still kept. Oh, God, we still kept. We still kept Mike Kefka. We parted ways with Wink Martindale, and we let go of, well, actually not let go, but we parted ways with Wink Martindale. He's going to get another coaching job, or he might probably go back to Baltimore, who knows. But we let go of Wink Martindale to sign some no-name from the Tennessee Titans. We also grabbed another offensive coordinator, actually. No, I think it was a wide receiver coach that we let go. Listen, you can change all the offensive coordinators you want. It's not gonna matter, you know, because the players have to go out there and still play, you know. And if we see another disastrous season like we saw last year, Brian Dable is out. To be honest with you, I never liked Brian Dable when he first came in here. You know, I mean, that dude got anger issues. You know, every time I see him in the sideline, he's always raging and yelling. Yes, yes, Tom Coughlin did the same thing, but not to that full extent. You know, Tom Coughlin was very old school. Brian Dable was not. Brian Dable was put in this position to help our offense. You know, look at this year. The games that Brian Dable called versus the plays that Mike Kefka called, you could clearly see who was calling the plays. It don't take a blind monkey to see, or actually, it doesn't take Stevie Wonder to see that. Like, why isn't Brian Dable calling the plays? But now we want to keep Mike Kefka, knowing damn well Mike Kefka is not good for the damn job. Why did you bring him in here anyways? I don't know. That was strike number 1. Whoever brought him in, that was already strike number 1 on you. You know, whether it was the general manager or the head coach, it was one of those two. Right? Now that we want to let him go, we don't want to let him go. We shut down talks, or the Giants shut down talks from the Seahawks, right? So again, if the Giants go into the next season, same play caller, right? Firing all these different head coaches, firing all these coaches. Now we just lost our best defensive coordinator, right? Now, you could say, well, it had to be done. Yes, bring some fresh new light in here. You know, whoever's playing, who's ever the defensive coordinator, he's similar. He calls his play similar to Wink Martindale. He don't blitz too much, but he makes you work for it. If that makes sense, you know. But Brian Dable's on the hot seat next year because it's always we hire a coach. Next 2 years he's fired, right? It's always that philosophy. Hire a head coach next 2 years, give him 2 years. If he doesn't pan out, fire him, right? Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin was the longest tender head coach that we had. We fired him or we let him go. He went to the Jaguars. He went back to his stomping ground where he obviously he led the Jaguars to a playoff game. And yeah, so I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. But like I said, if the Giants, if Saquon Barkley wants to stay here long term, that's up to him. Just know that you're going to be ringless when you retire, Saquon. Until the Giants can get their head out their ass and actually coach this team and bring the Giants to what they were 10 years ago, then you're gonna keep seeing the same repeated ish over and over and over again. And it's crazy because the Giants fans thinks next year is gonna be different. No, it's not. I know that for a fact because the Giants are never going to change. The Giants will always be the Giants until the end of time. When did you ever see the Giants go out their way and start scoring at will? They're not these high-powered teams that was fixated on offense. The Giants have always been a defensive team. From the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, that's been their bread and butter. That's how they won those 4 Super Bowls. They didn't win those 4 Super Bowls because of offense. They don't have the Steelers offense or the 70s Raiders offense or the they don't have, it's not in their repertoire to, do that. Now, will they score when it matters? Sure. We've seen plenty of times where the Giants put up 50, 40, 30 points, right? Like nobody is expecting the Giants to do it, but they go out there and do it. But their bread and butter was always a 4-3 scheme and playing defense, right? Now that we have a new defensive coordinator, will we go back to the 4-3 or will we stick with a 3-4? Because with a 3-4, you have to have linebackers. And that's something that the Giants have struggled for years. The Dolphins have no problem running a 3-4. Ravens, Steelers, Broncos, all these high gadget teams have no problem playing a 3-4. Why? Because they have the players to do so. We don't. So my best bet is for the Giants to go back to a 4-3, load up on defensive ends, and do it that way, because that's how we won those. That's how we won those 2 championships. 2012, 2008. That's how we won those 2 championships. Four defensive end, 1 linebacker, 2 cornerbacks. But when you play in a 3-4, it's 3 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, and 3 defensive ends. Or 3 defensive DBs, I should say. So, it depends on what the new defensive coordinator want to do. If he wants to run a 3-4 again, so be it. If he wants to go back to how we won those 2 Super Bowls. Just load up on defense, on the defensive end. You know, it's up to him, you know, because right now we don't have the players to do it. We really don't. We don't have. If we would have drafted Michael Parsons, then okay, you know, because again, yes, the Cowboys was ahead of the Giants, but the Giants could have always traded back. Yeah, acting like the Giants are not equipped to trading, you know. But again, we didn't know that the Cowboys was going to pick Michael Parsons. You know, a lot of people was comparing him to Lawrence Taylor, you know. So I think that's why the Giants stepped away from it and just picked who they picked, was Kadarius Toney. He didn't pan out, or whoever they picked. Or they could have picked not Steve Smith, Devontae Smith, you know. But the Eagles wind up taking him. So, I mean, I don't know if they're in that same draft class, but if they are, then that goes to show you where the Giants are, right? Now, do we really need? Now, let's shift to this. Do we really need a wide receiver? If we can work with the wide receivers that we have, add a few in free agency. Later on in the draft, yeah, we might probably take one in the 4th, 5th round. But do we really need a wide receiver? Do we really need a number one? I mean, you look at the Bills, you look at Stephon Diggs, he's a number 1 wide receiver. Where's the Bills? At home, you know? You look at Joe Burrow and Chase, right? You would have thought, oh, having those two, you know, is surely to, you know, win you a lot of games, right? No, this is not Madden, where they are at home. So when we won those 2 Super Bowls, did we ever have a number 1 receiver? No, we didn't. You know, everybody played to committee. Everybody played for themselves. No, not for themselves. Everybody played for each other. You know, it wasn't, oh, I'm a number 1. When we had Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks and Mario Manningham, none of them claimed to be the number 1. Everybody played with each other. Same thing when we had Plaxico Boris Toomer and the rookie Steve Smith. Number 12, not number 89. I know a lot of people get confused about that, but yeah, we had a Steve Smith as well. And then we also had a lot of rookies that year too. But none of them claimed to be number 1 receiver. Everybody played off of one another, right? So that's what we need. We don't need a number 1. We really don't. Because if you could win a Super Bowl that way, we don't technically need a number 1 receiver, you know. But in hindsight, if Saquon Barkley does, to go back to Saquon Barkley's point, if Saquon Barkley if Saquon Barkley was to go somewhere else, say, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to waste my prime years here. I need to go somewhere where there's championship level competition, right? I know I need to go to a team that can maximize my full potential. I mean, he could go to the LA Rams. You know, I mean, they already got their self-established. They already got a good defense, right? Add some more pieces around Matthew Stafford. I could see the LA Rams contending for another championship. Imagine him. Imagine Barkley. Who else they got? Henderson, you know. Or if he goes west, if he goes to the LA Chargers. You know, if he goes to the LA Chargers. Or if he goes to the Oakland Raiders. You know what I'm saying? But then again, they got Joshua, whatever. If he goes to the Arizona, he just wants to go to a contending team. If your team is not contending, he's not going to go. But then again, he doesn't have that naysay because you saw what the Giants did to Odell, right? They sent him to quote unquote die, which is stupid because I don't think the Browns are a bad team as people say they out to be. I mean, they made the playoffs last year, didn't they? Okay, so but then again, they already got their two dynamic duos and Kareem Hunt and Chubb, so I don't see him going there. So the best bet is either the best bet is LA Chargers. Now if he goes that way, that will open a door up for a lot of running backs. If you look at the running back treat right now, you got Eckler, right? You got Derrick Henry. And I want the Giants to get Derrick Henry. Why? Because number one, he fits the scheme. He's an every down back. He's something that Saquon Barkley was supposed to be. Right? Now, imagine us getting him. Right? How much would that increase that offensive line? Would that offensive line play better? I think so. It didn't work out for Tiki Barber, but you plug in two B-plus players in Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw, shoot, 1,000-yard backs, right? And on top of that, we won the Super Bowl with the worst rushing team, right? We were dead last in rushing when we won the second Super Bowl. A lot of people forget about that, But that's all I have to say. Like, comment, subscribe. And I do believe the New York Giants will trade their, 6th-round pick? Or fifth or sixth? Yeah, I think they picked fifth. I do believe they will trade. Where? I don't know. How many assets? I don't know. But they will trade their pick. Because picking at number 5, I mean, you're better off picking top 3, top 4. Picking at number 5 is not the best case because all the good talents are. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be some good talents on the board, And like if you're picking at number 8, number 10, then obviously you out of luck. You're just going to have to gamble on a pick, But we'll see. We'll see. Like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, take care of yourself and each other.